Welcome to this episode of Unraveling the Veil with your host, Yara Rose, also known as Katie Mosier, from the yararose.com website. That is YARAROSE.com. Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's podcast episode. I'm so excited to be here talking with you again. Apologize if you guys hear any of my dogs. We are filming together, and they don't seem to think that it's time to be quiet and sleepy. So I have one over there playing and the other one sitting on my lap yawning and doing different things. So you may hear them. It's just a lesson in surrender for me to embrace where I am. And a big part for me this year has been becoming that animal advocate, speaking for the animals that are incapable of always speaking for themselves, and performing the energy healing on the animals. If you followed my website or any of my social media posts, you know that that's become a very big aspect of my business, is to be the animal communicator, the animal energy healer, and just being that mediator between the owner and the animals. So they're here, and if you hear them, just feel like that's them saying hi, because we're going to move forward anyways. I can't believe we're in December of 2024. It's so crazy to me how fast these years go. And I feel like I've probably already done an episode on this, multiple other Decembers, but I can't seem to help but look at this month always as this reflection. And I feel like it's pretty common for a lot of us to get to this month every year and look back on those ambitious goals that we set for our New Year's resolutions, or just because we were excited for the energy of a new year and we had all these hopes and these beliefs and expectations that this was going to be the year that this happened, or this was going to be the year that this happened. And like every December, I just feel this energy where it's time. I live in Minnesota. I mean, it's usually colder. It's getting darker earlier. And there's just this hibernation mode that sets in where you have more time at home to sit and contemplate, like, where am I? How far have I come? Did I reach my goals? And I want to talk about that today because, or at least for me, I struggle with goals because my ego typically creates the goals, and sometimes it's not in alignment with where I am energetic wise. And then, especially if I have deadline goals, I get really frustrated with why I did not reach those. And then that actually compounds the situation and makes it even harder for me to get because of the frustration that gets introduced and more resistance. So I'm trying for myself to not set such ego-based goals. I'm trying each year to be like, how do I want to grow personal growth wise? What type of person do I want to be at the end of a year? What type of things do I want to have explored or expanded in? What type of, or I should say, how can I make intentional changes in my life to become closer to the more aligned person that my ultimate desire would be to become? I, for the last couple of years, have had the goal to be a strong, independent woman of faith. And for me, that means having faith, not just in the good times and not just when it's easy to have faith, but in those dark times where you really are struggling to have faith, where you're really struggling to believe that what you thought was possible is possible. It's that moment where you're scared to step out any further because you just really don't know and you're really uncomfortable, and you have no guarantees that what you think and what your heart is telling you is going to pan out is going to actually pan out. And to me, that's having true faith. It's not in the easy times being like, oh, it was a leap of faith. I just did that. No, I took this leap. I am now sitting on the edge of who knows what. I have no idea what's coming. But instead of freaking out, instead of worrying, instead of letting that lack mentality make me turn around and grab that spot that I just left, I'm going to sit here in this very uncomfortable spot where I can't see, I can't smell, I can't feel, I can't do anything. It's just a storm of I have no ideas. And instead of panicking and instead of freaking out, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to do my deep breathing. I'm going to do my emotion code. I am going to do my visualizations. I am going to do my journaling or my automatic writing with spirit. And that is going to be my faith. That's going to be me surrendering, the ultimate surrender, and allowing spirit be my guide, be the only real intake of information that I'm going to be receiving. And for me, that's been a goal for a couple of years now. And it's difficult. It's not easy. And every year, I don't know what that's going to look like. Like, I truly do not know how that's going to show up. And sometimes it's as simple as, hey, I have to go to a department store. I really don't feel like going, but can you come with me and let's make this really fun? And allowing spirit to help me in those situations and help me live my life with a more positive outlook in the mundane and in the everyday occurrences, because as I build my relationship with spirit and as I allow them into every aspect of my life, then I can be more and more confident that when I'm going through a time of struggle, they will also be there and they will support me, and that I can trust and I have validation that they will send me signs because they've done it before. This isn't new content. I feel like I've talked about this in multiple podcasts. It's so important to me. And it's been something that I have been trying and striving for several years. And I am so appreciative. I'm so grateful for what faith and what this process has brought into my life, because I have gotten to the point where I can't imagine not having that extra validation, where I can't imagine not believing in that external guidance by the non-physical, by those beings that can see so much further than I can. It really makes a difference. And it's kind of fun. So like, for instance, I had to renew my driver's license this year. And I don't know about y'all, but around here in the US, there's multiple jokes about going to the DMV and how slow and painful it can be. And I was not looking forward to it. I literally waited till the last week that I could renew it because I didn't want to go. But I had taken the week off, and the last thing I wanted to do was go to the DMV on my week off. But I didn't have a choice because my license was literally going to be expiring. So instead of being upset about that and getting frustrated about that, I decided to play with spirit. And I said to them, let's make this fun. Let's make this enjoyable. Let's make this a trip to the DMV so enjoyable that it's not something that in the future I will dread and drag my feet on. Let's just see what happens. I'm open to whatever. I'm going to go when you say. I'm going to go where you say. Let's just have fun. So throughout the couple days leading up to it, I heard of a specific location that has been known to be a lot more speedy than other ones. And I was like, oh, well, that's cool. I want to try that. I'm going to try this new location. So around the time that Spirit, gave me the indication, hey, it's time to go. Let's go. We went to the DMV and didn't have to wait in line at all. We were helped right away. And I think, honestly, it was maybe 15 minutes that we were there in total. Super painless. So it's early morning, I'm walking out, I have my license stuff done, and I'm like, okay, Spirit, where are we going to go now? And then they had been wanting me to go, and if you followed my earlier episodes, you know that I had a money tree, and that the money tree for me was so significant because A, it was one of the first plants I had been able to keep alive for probably my whole entire life. And B, it was significant because for my whole childhood, really, my parents always told us money didn't grow on trees. So to me, it was representative of, hey, there is actually a tree called a money tree. And we're not even going to get into the fact that money is made on bills and printed on paper, which also is trees. But besides the point, I wanted this money tree to represent the fact that it's right here. It is a money tree. Da, 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 da. Well, through one of the transplanting processes, I ended up killing this money tree. And I grieved that money tree, as you can imagine. But I had been wanting to get another one because I didn't want to give up. And I kept having this feeling like, this is the time you need to do this again. Like, you just need that type of energy in your life. And I was like, well, I don't really want to do that. And then I also had this thing with the money tree where when you buy a money tree and it's younger, they have like 3 different pieces of it intertwined together, like braided together almost. And then they put this, they like do some sort of a tie, like bow around it. And they're like, do not take this apart. And if you ever saw my money tree, I have pictures on my social media somewhere, but I tried really hard not to take that apart, you all. I really did. But I can feel the energy of the plant, and the plant and the plants are talking to me too, like they have a soul in them. So this poor soul was saying, help me. I'm stuck. I don't want to be trapped like this. Help me. So then, of course, after weeks, I finally broke down and released it. So my money tree, my very first one, did not look like a money tree. So I was like, do I really want to go through that again? Because I know that it looks aesthetically pleasing to have it all together and it looks better to be like that. But I refuse to make an innocent soul suffer just because it looks better. And I don't know if I want to go through that again. I don't know if I want to do any of this again. I'm not a big fan of the transplanting process. But anyways, Spirit had told me to go there. So I was like, okay, in honor of our journey that I promised you I was going to take with you today, I will go there. And it was so funny because they didn't have any of those type of money trees that I had gotten before. Instead, they had like this log type wood piece, and then the branches were shooting out from there. And I laughed, y'all, because I was like, you knew I was resistant to getting another one like that. I didn't want to put this poor soul tied together in what felt like to it a cage so it couldn't expand and grow in the way that it desired. So they brought me to a place that didn't have that. It had a completely different one and it has a completely different energy. And I loved being able to bring that money tree into my home and into my space. And it's just amazing to me every time I bring a new thing like that, a new plant or a new animal or a new component into our life, how different the energy is when you first bring it home. And I was so excited, y'all, to bring that home. I was so happy. And then they told me to go to Target. I had a couple things I wanted to get from Target. And it was really funny because they directed me to this aisle that I never would have went down. And I happened to look up when I'm in it, just trying to see what they sent me there for. And I look up and there's these coffee mugs, and each of the coffee mugs has a letter on it. And it was so funny because it just happened to be the row I looked up into had my initials in it. First, middle, last, right there, right in a row. And I'm like, that is so crazy. I had to take a picture and send it to my husband and my mom because I was like, this is what happens when you play with spirit. You have all of these super cool synchronicities. They have your back. They take care of you. And it was just fun. It was just fun seeing where they guided me, what other little things. I mean, there was so many things that day. It was a very enjoyable trip to the DMV and related businesses afterwards. And the energy I had when I got home from that visit was just high, exciting, fun, magical. I just love incorporating spirit into my days, and I love leaning on them and playing with them. And they really love it too, because they love being able to be a active part of your day. And could you imagine, because we have spirit guides, right? So could you imagine just having this guide that just sits there and tries to get you to do certain things that would be in your best interest, and you are completely oblivious or you don't care because you're so stuck in your ways that you're like, nope, I don't want to do that. Maybe that should be good for me, but I don't want to do that. Could you imagine how frustrating it would be for that spirit guide to be just basically your hands are tied? They can't do anything. We have free will. So they can guide us, they can give us directions, but they can't make us do anything. And if we're asking for something and they're showing us a way and we're refusing to go, I just can't imagine. I give them so much credit for being strong enough to allow our free will to persevere and still stay with us and love us through the entire process. I love it. There's these things on Facebook I see every once in a while where I think it says something like, it's like a picture of an animal trying to cross the road and then like a car coming. And it says something about the human screaming at the animal not to cross the road because they're going to get hit and they're going to die. And they're like, I bet you this is how my spirit guides feel about me every single day, which I don't know about you, but I'm very strong and stubborn in certain areas. And I know, as active as I am with my spirit guides and with my spiritual community, I know there's times where I'm doing something that's not in my best interest and where I should be taking option A instead of option B, but I'm just like, I'm not there yet. Like in this mood, in this moment, I am taking B. I know that's not the highest path for me, but I'm taking it anyways. Sorry. I feel like I really digressed from the topic at hand, but I did want to share that experience with you just because I want you guys to understand that they enjoy working with you every day. They enjoy having fun with you. They enjoy sending you signs. They enjoy playing your favorite music on the radio. And it's even more fun for them when you recognize and honor that they really, truly are there and they are making that difference in your life and they still are an active part of that life. And that has been a message that's been coming through too. I don't know who needs to hear this, but I really, truly want you to know that your loved ones that have passed away, they're not in this far off, distant place where they can't reach you and that they don't see you. They don't know that you just graduated from high school or college or that you got your dream job, or that you got engaged, or that you met this perfect person that's just amazing for you. They're with you every step of the way. They're with you for all of those milestones. So don't feel like going into this holiday season that they're not going to be with you, that they're not going to be at that Christmas party laughing at the jokes that have been going down from generation to generation about so and so doing this and so doing that, and participating in those stories. They are there. So ask for signs and be open to seeing how they're going to show you that they're there, because they will be there. I know the holiday season can be difficult for some people, especially when they've lost someone that they really loved and they really never expected to lose, especially at whatever stage they are. But they're not really gone. So when you go to these holiday functions or whatever it is you have to go to, just imagine that they are there, and it would just be similar to them being in a different room where you can't really see them, but whatever you say, know that they can hear you just as if they were in the other room. So, for example, pretend you're in the kitchen and they're in the living room, and everybody's there talking and having fun and laughing, and they're still in that living room. They can still hear everything, but you can't see them. That's the only difference. They are still there. They're still around. They're able to see, they're able to experience through your happiness, through your joy, and they want you to be happy and they want you to be joyful. And it's okay if you get a little sad when their name comes up or whatever. I think that's just natural human process, right? Like, I talk to my grandma and grandparents more now than I did when they were alive. But I still have those days where it's like, man, it would really be nice if I could just have their hug, or see their smile in real life. That's human nature, to just want that human contact. But your life with whoever has passed away is just going to be different now, and eventually you'll all be on the same level again. But for now, just know that they are with you, and it's just a different way. And it's just a different way to communicate with them. Don't focus on the loss don't focus on the absence of them, because they're not absent. I'm sorry, that message. I feel like I'm scatterbrained today, and I apologize for that. But I asked Spirit, it's funny. I asked my spiritual community what they wanted me to do, what would be in my best interest today. And they just said to get on here and talk. So I feel like there's just certain things that are going to hit different people that are listening to this differently. So maybe some of you needed to hear about the goals, and some of you just needed to be reminded that your family is actually still with you. December has a lot of emotions into it. It has a lot of vibrations to it. It really, because it has, people can be so high and so excited about Christmas. But if you're used to celebrating with someone and they're no longer there, then it can be really depressing. Or if you don't have a family, it can be really depressing. And like, if you didn't meet your goals, it can be really depressing and sad. And I don't know. I would try, if you're willing to try this with me, I would try for your goal setting this next year to, instead of setting ego-based goals, just reflect with yourself for a little bit about the type of person that you want to be at the end of December 2025. Like, when you imagine yourself at the end of December 2025, what type of personal growth steps would you have liked to have taken? What areas would you have liked to have expanded in? Would you like to be more confident in yourself? Would you like to be more compassionate to everyone around you? Would you like to have more faith in the non-physical? Things like that. And then ask yourself throughout the year, how can I support that goal, whatever it is, each and every day? And if you don't have time every day, that's fine. But like, every once in a while, reflect back. What decision right here can I make that supports that year-end goal? And I promise you, you're going to feel way better next December if you set goals this way than if you put the pressure on yourself to meet a goal of increasing your income by $20,000 based on this really detailed thing where you're going to get a raise in the first quarter. And then by the second quarter, you're going to have switched a job who's going to recognize your value as the most amazing financial analyst available, and they're going to give you this huge hike. So between the two of those, and the holiday bonus at the end of the year, you're going to have increased your revenue by $20,000 or your gross wages by $20,000. There's so many components to that are out of your control. And if something doesn't happen in that first quarter or that second quarter, it doesn't happen in those times, that will increase your resistance. And it will make you very frustrated at yourself for not reaching that, even though it wasn't entirely within your control. And it's just going to be more difficult for you. So if you were taking my advice, I would try something different this year if that's what you're experiencing right now. And just see what happens and have fun with it. And actually, while we're on this topic, I have this karma deck. It's called the Akashic Truth Oracle Card Deck by St. Paling. And I asked Spirit what karma lesson or subject that they had that they wanted you to release or close the door on at the end of December 2024. And the card that they gave us was compassion. And it says, you're being asked to be kinder to yourself, to give yourself a break. Instead of being a taskmaster, a bully, and a horrible friend, be a loving comforter who always has your back. So what they're asking for you this year at the end of 2024 is to have more compassion for yourself moving forward, is to stop being the taskmaster over yourself and being so hard on yourself that you're literally bullying yourself, which I felt fit perfectly with what I just said about being careful about those goals. And then when you don't meet them, how you talk to yourself, because your self-talk is so important. It's what helps you make the decision to thrive instead of survive. It's what gives you the confidence to keep going. And by treating yourself in this bullying mindset way, you've increased your resistance to the even possibility of that goal happening in that time frame. So try instead to set the goals the way I recommended, and then also remind yourself to be compassionate towards yourself. You are doing the best that you can each and every single day. You are going to get where you need to be based on where your energy is. Just try every single day to see the potential in it, and try every single day to help yourself expand and to take those steps beyond your comfort zone every single day. And if you do that, by the end of next year, you are going to notice differences in the areas that you wanted to notice differences. And also, the karma card that they gave you for something to keep in mind for the beginning of 2025. So this is about dependence. And it says there's something or someone you are clinging to, and it's keeping you from stepping into your light. You have everything you need to succeed, and the only approval you need is your own, which makes me think that it's possible that the reason that you haven't met all of your goals for 2024 is maybe that one of your goals is somehow related to another person or situation, and your desire for that specific person or situation to turn out in a specific way, which is an expectation, which means you have a tie to it, which means it also is resistance. So again, be compassionate. Don't be mad about it. And don't yell at yourself for having an expectation around this individual or the situation, because I feel like that's fairly common for all of us. We were taught to have expectations. Expectations can sometimes be what inhibit us from actually experiencing the life that we want to experience. So just take a glance around at your life and try to figure out if there were one situation or one person that I am relying too much on for my own happiness. Where is that? And how can I release the expectation around that, send them love and light, and allow us both to move forward in a lighter, happier, more flow energy? And I'm not saying that if you're in a relationship, you should break up. I'm saying there's this energetic cord between the two of you. You think you are needing something from this person or the situation, when in fact, You have everything that you need within yourself to create the desired outcome. You don't need them to create that outcome. So you're just cutting that cord where you, in your mind, believe that you need them to be a certain way or the situation to be a certain way for you to be happy, because that's not true. That's a false belief. No one needs to change who they are, or no situation needs to change for you to change how you feel. You choose how you feel by your perspective, by how you choose to focus. And when you choose yourself to be a happier, healthier person by shifting your mindset around whatever it is you're looking at, then the energy changes, and then your external world will then change as well. So every change starts with you and how you choose to focus and how you choose to perceive things. By tying yourself to persons or things or situations in this manner, in this dependence matter, you're giving your power away. You're saying, Johnny needs to be X, Y, and Z before I'm going to be happy. And that doesn't give you any power. That's saying Johnny has all the power. And then you're putting pressure on Johnny to meet X, Y, and Z. And maybe Johnny's not meant to do those. Maybe he doesn't want to do those. Maybe he doesn't want to be responsible for making you happy. Maybe he wants to see you make yourself happy, and he wants to make himself happy, and he wants to come together as a united, happy couple that's super powerful within themselves. So when they combine together, you're unstoppable. It's just something to think about, how you use your power and how you give your power away with these little things that you may not have thought about before. By expecting someone else or something else to change, you're kind of making yourself the victim in that situation. You're saying, I am the victim. I cannot be happy. I'm in this rut until you change. And that's not how it's going to be. The longer you see yourself as that victim, the longer you're going to be feeling like you're trapped in that cage. And you're just going to get more and more frustrated and angry. And you're going to possibly alienate whoever that person or that situation is by your energy. So I would just be mindful of looking around you at the end of this year and seeing where you have given your power away and how you can reclaim that power, how you can be whole on your own, and how you can be a deliberate creator of your own life and cultivate that happiness from within, because that's where your true power is. And I'm not unique in that, and you're not unique in that. We all have the power within ourselves to make ourselves happy. We are our own superheroes. We don't need anyone else to do that for us. That is not their job. Their job is to make themselves happy, and it's your job to make yourself happy. And you can do this. I know that may seem like it's impossible sometimes, but I can guarantee you that you can do it. Every single one of you is powerful. Every single one of you is an extension of source energy, and you have it within yourself to create the life that you want. It's just done one step at a time, every single day. You can do this. And on that note, I asked Spirit if there was one message for the month of December of 2024, what message they would want me to share with you for the theme for the rest of this month. And they sent me the support card, and it says, ask for help and get more rest and nurture yourself. And this card's message, like the guidebook message, is similar to be willing to ask others for help. Don't think that you have to do it all on your own, and be open to the possibilities of how help could show up for you, because it might show up completely different than you ever thought it could. It could be as simple as someone offering to open the door for you and you saying yes. That's an exchange of energy. Someone was offering something to you and you said yes, and they felt better for being able to open the door for you, and you felt better because it was one less thing that you had to do. And the more that you say yes to those type of opportunities, the more that they will flow in. It's an energy exchange. So when you have these small little offers, these little opportunities, that's how spirit works sometimes, is they give you a small one. And if you're open to that, then they know that you're open to bigger ones. So be conscientious about the decisions that you make. Why are you saying no to that? Why do you feel like you have to do everything yourself? Where does that narrative come from? What story are you telling yourself? Is it possible that it's time to release the story that you have to do it all alone, that you can't rely on anyone else? My experience, this is an abundant universe, and there are so many non physical beings out there that absolutely love to assist you. And some of the ways that they do that is by finding another human being that is open to fun and play and experiencing life with non physical as well, and they bring them into your life because you two can collaborate together on whatever it is, as simple as opening a door for someone else, as simple as letting someone else cut in line for you, in line in front of you, or letting a car merge in front of you. Simple things like that. They allow you these opportunities to collaborate together to create a more loving, friendly environment. And that opens you up to a whole brand new world of opportunities. So what is it that you need help with? Why are you rejecting that if you are rejecting that? And then honestly, I don't feel like I could do an episode on reflection of year-end goals and all of the material that I've covered so far without bringing up the concept of comparison. Because with social media being the way it is, we are constantly being shown different ways in which other people are reaching their goals or manifesting this or these amazing, beautiful, vibrant lives that they show on there, which, as most of us should know, that is just their highlight reel. It's not their everyday in and out lifestyles. So it may look all lavish and it may look wonderful, but very rarely is someone going to show you the downtimes, the daily grind of doing the same thing every single day, of the wait at the airport that was delayed, the weather didn't cooperate. They don't show you those. They just show you the destination, the tropical beach that they reached, and they talk about the amazing food that they had. They didn't tell you that that night they went and got food poisoning. Be mindful of how you're comparing your current reality to what you see on social media, because that's not their reality. That's just what they're highlighting for you. And it's not even just social media. When I was thinking about this episode and creating it, I had this reminder of being mindful of comparing yourself to anyone. I had this story I wanted to share of when I first started working out. I've gained a couple pounds at the end of my last year in college, and I wanted, okay, my husband and I, we don't have any kids, so we both go to work, and we decided to start working out. And at first it was just me. I was working out and I was finally seeing progress. I was walking this many minutes at this miles per hour, and then I'd start jogging for more, or I'd start running for more, and I did the increments. Like I'd go, 2 minutes at this, 4 minutes at this, and I was feeling so good about myself, and I was seeing noticeable changes within myself. And it's not even the external changes, it was the changes inside of me, where I had more energy, where I was excited about the day more, like I was getting more flexible, I was building muscle mass, and I just felt better generally. But then my husband started working out. And my husband is more athletically inclined, and he was in sports, and he had conditioned himself before, whereas I am the opposite. So he would be able to run at 10 miles per hour for the whole 20 minutes. And I never was able to get up there. And I started getting really hard and down on myself, because where one moment I was really excited at the progress and that I was steadily building up to higher speeds for longer periods of time, when I started comparing myself to how he was able to do it, I started criticizing myself. And why can't I do that? Why am I not good enough? And it took me, a couple weeks to realize that it doesn't matter what he can do versus what I can do, because we're different people. We're built differently. I was seeing progress and I was feeling better. And at the end of the day, that's what mattered. It wasn't whether I was losing more weight than him faster or whether he was losing more weight than me faster. It was, do we both feel good at the end of the day? Are we both feeling progress with our individual workouts? Yes and yes. And that's all that mattered. So it took me, like I said, a couple weeks to come to terms with, I'm never going to be able to run 20 minutes for 10 miles per hour. I'm just not built that way. But I don't have to do that. That's not my thing. I'm better in other areas, and that's fine too. It's not a comparison. But can I get myself up to whatever? Yeah, I can. See, I'm steadily increasing. And that's what I want to remind you guys of, is that we need to be careful with how we compare ourselves to others, because in the end of the day, the only person that you should compare yourself to is yourself. Are you being more confident today? If that was what your goal was, are you being more compassionate today? Is this decision the more compassionate choice? Is this decision going to fill you with joy and love? And is it going to make you feel better about yourself because you're really passionate about it, or because you really want to do it? Or are you doing it because of an old programming? Be very careful about who you compare yourself to, because that's just another way to bully yourself. And have compassion and have love for everyone. And you know what? We're not all built the same way, and we're not all going to do things the exact same way. We're here to do things at our own pace and on our own journeys, and we're here to honor each other. You know, it made me think the other day about when I was building the lasagna. You know, we love lasagna and we love all the individual ingredients, but could you imagine a lasagna with just the noodles? No, it's the noodles put together with the hamburger and the tomato sauces and the seasoning and the cheese. That's what makes it good. All of these different components together make it a dish that we enjoy and a dish that we recognize. How can we use the components that we have within ourselves to become the best versions of ourselves, and compare ourselves last year compared to ourselves this year? Compare our intention that we had for ourselves at the beginning of this year to how we are this at the end of the year. Did we reach that intention? Did we intend to consciously live a life of more faith? How did we do that? And before I close this out, I just want to remind you of my success podcast, where we talked about knowing ahead of time what success looks like to you, because success looks different to everyone else. And when you're setting whatever your intention is for the next year, keep in mind, what does success look like to you? And be mindful of that as you're going through the year every year. If I wanted to, we'll use mine. We'll use faith. I want to be a person of strong faith, where I can feel confident in going beyond my comfort zone and knowing that I'm going to be okay, because I have so much love and support behind me, both in my physical and non-physical families and world. And I'm faced every single day with different decisions. And I can ask myself, is this decision going to lead me closer to my desire to be the strong woman of faith, or is it not? And I can choose whether I do that or not. And at the end of the year, I have an idea of what that looks like to me. And if I have reached that, then I have succeeded. That's what my success would have been. So what does success look like to you with these goals and these intentions that you're setting? I really hope that this podcast episode helped you as you navigate through changing the years, and as you reflect on the year that the year that is coming to an end, and the things that you were hoping to achieve in the new year. I am sorry. I feel like it was a little bit every other which way, but I do feel like it's going to help you. And it may not help you all in the same exact ways, but I feel like every single little detour that I took on here is important, because there's someone out there that's going to listen to it, that is going to resonate with it, and they needed that aspect. And as always, it was an opportunity for me to surrender the desire to have a podcast episode that went from point A to point B to point C and then done. I was able to allow in spirit, let them give me the messages that you most needed to hear in this time of the year. And as always, I hope that it promotes so much healing within you, and love and light. And I wish you all the best as you navigate the end of 2024 and bring in the great energy of a new year in 2025. I love you all, and I wish you the most love, light, and inspiration. With all of my love, Yara Rose.